Okay, I've been given a script, but I've bent it. Let's talk about AEW Double or Nothing 2026. First things first, the pay-per-view was fantastic. Some fans are already calling it one of AEW's best events ever. I'm not going to review every match or break down every result. Instead, I want to focus on one man, a hardcore legend, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mick Foley. Now, before we get to the debut itself, let's quickly cover how we got here. Mick Foley chose to walk away from WWE after publicly disagreeing with the company's relationship with Donald Trump and the political direction surrounding the promotion. Whether you agree with Mick or not isn't really the point of this video. The point is this: he walked away from a company he loved, a company that made him famous, a company where he created some of the most unforgettable moments in wrestling history. Then AEW came calling. Tony Khan announced Mick Foley was all elite. And as an old-school wrestling fan, my ears immediately perked up. Mick Foley? In AEW? Now you've got my attention. When Foley finally appeared at Double or Nothing, the crowd gave him a tremendous reaction. You could see the emotion on his face. You could tell he genuinely loved being there. He talked about rediscovering his love for wrestling. He talked about Tony Khan. He talked about AEW. And honestly, I was happy for him. Then MJF arrived. The insults started. The confrontation started. The crowd reacted. Darby Allin eventually made the save. The segment ended. And that's where my problem begins. Not with Mick Foley, not with MJF, not with Darby Allin, with the presentation. Because this is Mick Foley we're talking about. This isn't just another wrestling legend. This is the man who gave us Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, 3 completely different personalities, 3 unforgettable characters. This is the man who fell off Hell in a Cell, the man who flew through tables, the man who got handcuffed and smashed with chair shots at Royal Rumble 1999, the man who made us laugh, cry, cheer, cringe, and worry all at the same time. Mick Foley isn't a wrestler. Mick Foley is an era. And that's why I think AEW missed a huge opportunity. Imagine this instead. No announcement, no immediate reveal, just mysterious vignettes, week after week, dark rooms, distorted voices, old footage, a rat sitting on a table, a rocking chair moving by itself, fans trying to guess who it is. Because if you watched WWF during the Attitude Era, you remember those Mankind vignettes. They were creepy, uncomfortable, mesmerizing. Mankind would sit in a dark room talking about pain, talking about loneliness, talking about music, talking about hurting himself. And somehow, Mick Foley made every second believable. You didn't know whether to feel sorry for him or be terrified of him. That's great character work. That's storytelling. Imagine bringing that feeling back. Not the exact character, but the mystery, the atmosphere, the anticipation. Instead of announcing Mick Foley immediately, let fans spend 6 or 8 weeks asking, who is it? What's happening? Why are these strange videos appearing? Then finally, reveal Mick Foley. The roof would come off the building. And when he finally appears, don't have him immediately laid out. Have him become a mentor. Have him search for somebody who reminds him of himself. Somebody reckless. Somebody willing to sacrifice everything. Somebody like Darby Allin. Now that's a story I want to watch. One thing I did enjoy was seeing Mick and Darby together. The comparison makes sense. Both are willing to put their bodies on the line. Both have that outsider mentality. Both connect with fans in a unique way. And let's not forget history. Years ago, Mick Foley and Jon Moxley shared some memorable interactions. AEW has so many opportunities to use Foley's legacy and relationships to create compelling television. That's why I left Double or Nothing feeling conflicted. I was happy to see Mick Foley. I was happy to see him smiling again. I was happy to see him excited about wrestling again. But I also felt they only scratched the surface of what could have been. Tony Khan, if by some miracle you ever hear this, I know you love wrestling. I know you respect wrestling history. And I know you've given many wrestlers and legends a place to continue their journey. For that, you deserve credit. But this is Mick Foley, a hardcore legend, a Hall of Famer, a man who sacrificed his body for our entertainment. And in my opinion, his arrival should have felt bigger, because legends don't come around very often. Bang, bang.